Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Goaltending, where your why is bigger than your excuses. Today, we have the honor of learning from the president of a mid-sized company about leadership, team cohesion, and work-life prioritization. But before I introduce him, I just want to remind you that we appreciate you allowing us to be a part of your journey. The information that will help you elevate is right here in this episode. But it won't change your life until you start to apply it. So don't wait to start taking action because you can't get back the days that you miss out. Our guest today is the president of Champion Waterproofing, a basement waterproofing and foundation repair company operating in Louisville and Lexington, Kentucky. He started at Champion over 14 years ago, and through dedication, hard work, and selfless leadership, he worked his way up to becoming the president of the company for the last 4 years. On top of that, he's a caring husband, a dedicated father, an incredible friend. Shawn Cornish, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here. Love seeing behind the scenes and setting this chair. I'm a listener of the show, so it's pretty neat to be here.
Awesome, man. I appreciate you taking the time to share your experience because that's really what we try to bring out in the podcast, is just to find the things people can relate to help them on their journey. And I know you have a lot to give from the conversations we've had as a personal friend. So let's jump right into where your journey began and what led you to Champion.
Yeah, so I got out of school. I needed to earn a living, needed to get a job, basically. Got an interview with the owner of Champion Waterproofing. Sat down with him for 2 or 3 interviews, and over the course of time, I realized how he was very passionate about what he did. I saw that he was passionate at helping people. He wasn't, just out to make a dollar. He wanted to help the community. A lot of community service is done in Champion Waterproofing, and I just wanted to be a part of that.
That's awesome. I think there's a lot to be said about when you see a company, and you see the values that they have in alignment with it. Like, that's what I'm hearing, is that when you were going to the company, your values just aligned and you found the right thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think me and the owner and his values and just what he wanted to do, I knew that would be something to be part
Yeah.
of.
So the listeners of the show, they're the type of people that strive for more. Like, a lot of people that listen either want to be a president, a CEO, an owner of a company. They're people that are reaching for those high-level positions. And so I want to learn from your experience as a president of a company. What characteristics or behaviors did you have that you think helped to stand out, that kind of helped lead you to get into the president?
Yeah, so with the industry I'm in, I think one of the big things is just ethics. You've got to have a strong moral code. We're in people's homes every day, and they got to be able to believe in what you're doing, what you say, and you're going to be able to deliver on that. I know one of the things that I think helped me in Champion was early on. We were, I was a foreman. I don't think I've ever told you this story, but I was a foreman, and my boss at the time always drove fancy cars, real nice cars. Some I was always striving to have, and I was in a busy parking lot, and I backed up one of our work trucks right into his fancy new car. And, I put a big old dent in it, but it was a busy parking lot. Yeah. And, I stopped for a second, and I went in, and I was like, hey, back the truck into your car. And to my surprise, he wasn't mad at all. And he was just like, that shows me that, you weren't going to lie about it. He walked out and saw the damage. He was like, he realized that there's a lot of cars around. Anybody could hit him.
Yeah.
But me just going in and telling him that, I think it strengthened our bond, and it showed that our ethics were aligning with each other, and I think that's a big part of it. Secondly, is just being resilient. As a leader, you got to be resilient. I've seen many people on your show talk about that. As a leader of the job or a leader of the company, you're going to go through a lot. A lot of hard stuff's going to happen. You're going to have to make a lot of hard decisions. And you're going to have to be resilient every day. It's not just a weekly thing; it's an everyday thing. resiliency is one thing that you're going to have to have.
Oh, yeah. No, I couldn't agree more. Like, resilience is huge. How long did you say you were at the company when that event happened?
Like week 2. It was like
a week or 2.
For sure within the first month.
So that's outstanding. So what came to my mind, like you said, ethics, I think trust.
Yeah.
Like establishing trust early on. Yeah. Because there's the whole like storming, norming, performing, adjourning if a team comes to an end. But like when there's somebody coming new to a company, there's all of these phases of their induction into the company.
Yeah.
And the earlier on that you can establish trust, I think the earlier that you can make an impact to elevate to not only work effectively with the people you're working with, but when it comes to like leadership or the owner of the company seeing that in you early on, that leads to so many other opportunities. Because now I know, like, you're my go-to guy. I can go to you for this and know that you're going to be ethical, that you're going to be honest, and handle what needs to be done.
I think it just showed that our principles were, the same, and it definitely developed the trust, and I think we saw that today. Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. And that's over 14 years, because you can establish trust with somebody and mess that up too. So Absolutely. Not only did you establish it early, but to be there 14 years later shows that that's a long term.
Transparency is a big thing, just being an open book with everybody around you.
Yeah.
Don't hide anything. I think that's huge. Just being an open book, and if a big problem arises, don't try to cover it up. Face it head on. Tell your superiors. Tell them straight up. Build that trust with them, and it could take a long time.
All right, well, let me ask: were you scared going in there to tell them you just backed into this car?
I thought it was done. I thought I was going to get fired. I didn't, like I said, it was 2 weeks in. I didn't know the guy that well. But, that made me want to be more of a part of everything, and I think I've learned from that. Him being a mentor of mine, I've learned a lot from that experience.
Yeah.
The longer you're there, you're going to have a lot of experiences, and just trying to grow and learn off each one.
Mm-hmm. And that, I hear the trust on both sides, because it established his ability to trust you, but also, like, it built your confidence and your ability to come to him with a problem.
Yeah.
To know, like, I'm not going to lose my job if I make a mistake. I can learn from this and we can improve.
Yeah, it made me want to work here,
Yeah.
It made me want to stay here for 14 years, and, that has a lot to do with, working your way up the ladder.
Right.
You're going to have to be there for a while.
Yep.
So, yeah.
All right, so in terms of those characteristics, so ethics, that trust and resilience, those are part of what helped get you to become the president of the company. Would you say those same characteristics are what help you to continue to stay in that position and continue to be successful, or would you say you've had to develop and learn some other, strengths, characteristics to help continue to be successful in that role?
Yeah, I mean, those 2 things are definitely things that I'm going to have to continue with. Those are a big part of what I do. But, being a president, started as a foreman and moving on up, I was learning as I go. I think I became a better strategic thinker over time. I know early on it was just trying to get through the day. Get through the week. You got payroll coming up on Friday. Just trying to get through that week. And as time has went on, I've been able to slow down, pull myself out of the field, and think about long-term goals.
Yeah.
Not just a week, not just a month, a year down the road. Strategically planning that and setting goals to reach each week.
Yeah.
And just coming up with plans to reach those goals.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely, I became more of a strategic thinker. I've definitely grown in that aspect. I think that's important.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Just through my experience with the military, as I move up to higher ranks and higher level positions, it helps to see and understand the big picture. It's harder to see when you're at the bottom. Like when you're starting as a foreman, it's harder to see that big picture of the whole operation of the company. You see the small area that you're responsible for. But then as you move up and you start to grasp, like, there's a lot more going on than this one piece.
Yeah.
That's really significant. So I think that's a good point. So let's talk about leadership specifically, because with people striving for those high-level positions, leadership is crucial. But I also believe when we say leadership, a lot of times we go to the professional setting and we just think of just our workplace, but everything that we do, we can be seen as a leader. We can be a leader as a spouse. We can be a leader as a parent. We can be a leader as a friend. So there's a lot of different areas in your life, a lot of different aspects that you can be a leader. But for the professional setting, what are some of the things that you do to take care of your team members and to make them feel valued?
Yeah, I mean, I like the family atmosphere at work. I believe in that. You're with these people all the time. So we try to do different things that we think that the staff is going to enjoy. From things like, we'll rent out a soccer facility and we'll all just play soccer. None of us is any good. Well, some of the guys are pretty good. Most of the management, we're not very good, and we'll get out there and play soccer with them. Anything you can do to strengthen that bond. We skydived one time. I didn't. But we took the team to do it. I went out there with them. I'm just scared of heights, so I didn't partake in that. We'll go paintballing. We did paintball, and they love to gang up on me.
We're gonna get the boss, right?
Yeah, about 4 or 5 people just trying to get me with the paintball guns, but we do that. But I think it's very important. One thing that I've learned from my boss and now I've implemented is, if you've got somebody on your staff that's just had a baby, we'll bring a truckload of diapers up to the house and just unload it. You want to show that you care about the family. You've got the people working, but if the family also knows you, you're going to retain employees that way. Right. And we've been very fortunate to retain our employees, and I think that's got a lot to do with it. We have, Christmas parties that it's not just for our staff. We'll bring the whole, bring your cousins in, bring whoever you want. We'll let them involved in the games that we play. Let them win money at these parties. I think it's important to have not just your employee, but bring their wife, bring their kids in, get to know them, so you can relate to them each day. I think that's a big part of why we've been able to retain people. And obviously, if you want to do successful stuff, you're going to have good employees that do good work. Yeah. So once you get them trained and developed, you really want to keep them on. I think that does a lot.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely think it's worth putting the money into retention, into the family, into the making up, like creating a bond and making it feel like a family with, they have their family and then now becomes a family of families.
Yeah.
I think that definitely, when it comes to retention, is crucial to involve the family because they're part of it. Like, they're making the sacrifice while that person is there working on a business. The family is sacrificing being away from that person. Right? So I think that's fantastic. There's one specific story that I stood out to me, because we have conversations all the time, and I was like, that right there is the epitome of leadership. That is the example that leaders should strive for to show that they care about their employees. And it was, you had an employee who lost a family member. Are you comfortable with talking about like what happened? You don't have to talk about the person themselves or what actually happened with them. Yeah. But how you responded as a leader in that situation.
Yeah, I mean, well, so basically him and his wife were, expecting a child, and they got pretty far along in they lost the baby, and that hit me close to my heart, and we brought them meals to help them get through the week, but he's a guy that's very close to me there at work. I work with him a lot. We're always talking on the phone, and when I was in the field, I had a similar situation happen, and my boss actually came to my job site and called him and said, "I needed, I need to get this job done real quick because my wife's having some issues. I need to get." I told him what those issues was, and he drove out to the job site, took the jackhammer out of my hand, gave me his very fancy truck, and sent me to the hospital. Wow. He took my truck, that I was driving, the food truck, gave me his nice fancy truck. I went to the hospital, was able to be with my family. When I got back, he gave me a night at the Brown Hotel with my wife, wow. And a nice dinner, so 14 years later, I'm in the same situation, and I've learned, this is where you handle it, because, when it happened to me, it made me feel better. Yeah. It made my wife feel better, which was more important at the time. So just looking back on those experiences that you learn from, you try to carry them through, and hopefully you have a boss like I had early on that can give you those good lessons, and they know what you need to.
Yeah, it's outstanding when you get a good leader early on that you can learn from. I've had some outstanding leaders I've had the opportunity to learn from as well. I also believe you can learn from bad leaders. It's tougher, because then it becomes I'm learning what not to do. Sure. But I love that story of you had a leader early on when you went through a hard situation that left a impact on you. So when you had a team member, when you became a leader, had a team member go through a difficult situation, that stuck in your mind, and it left you with a lesson that you learned. I know exactly how I need to respond to this to help this person, to be present for them, to make them feel cared about in this difficult moment.
Yeah, and they're family, so you're gonna want to take care of them. Like I said, you got these patterns with them every day. Yeah. You form a close bond with them, so when things happen to them, they happen to you. I think the whole company feels it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I often relate the position a person holds in a company kind of to the size of the problems that they face on a daily basis. And so, the higher up you are, I think the bigger problems are on that you need to be equipped to face and solve. And so I remember a situation you told me about specifically where I think it was the accountant of your company that had another opportunity or was leaving the company for one reason or another, and that left a hole that you didn't really have anybody with the training or experience necessarily to just step in and fill that internally. Can you talk some about that situation and how you handle it?
Yeah, so she's the bookkeeper. She also actually answered her phones at the time. She did a lot of that. The mail came in. She took care of all of that. And what we had to do at the time, there wasn't just somebody that naturally just fell into that that knew what to do. Right. So we didn't have that option. So I stepped in and I did that job. Not quite a month. While we looked for certain people that could fill it, a lot of interviews, but it turned out that was a blessing in disguise, really, because I got to step into that role, sit there and watch the files pile up on the desk. Watch the documents come in that I'm reading and what these words that she dealt with every day, but I didn't, and so I learned it so much, through that month of having to do it. I think it really helped me learn who I need to hire for one. There were certain questions that I knew to ask now. There were certain characteristics that I needed in that person that I didn't realize I needed before. Yeah. It was a huge blessing because now when I did hire somebody and they had certain questions, I didn't have to just kind of brush it off and say, figure it out, Right. I was able to dive into it with them, give them what little advice I was only on the job for a month, but give them what advice I could, and then we were able to problem solve together. I could relate to them more, and honestly, I should do it in other positions in the company, because that 1 month, man, I grew I grew a lot there, and I think that definitely helped me find the person we have now. Able to find an amazing lady that's doing it now, and she teaches me a lot, and I teach her a little bit, and yeah, we grow.
Oh yeah, there's something special about like when a challenge first hits, you're like, man, this is hard. Like, what am I going to do? But through it, there's kind of two ways to respond. You can learn from it. You can take it on as an opportunity, which you did. Like you stepped into the role and it turned into a learning experience. It set the company up better because it improved your ability to fill that role, to know what you needed for that role. And so where I talked about, all levels of the company, you're going to face challenges regardless of if you're at the bottom or the top. It's just the size of the problems that you're facing I typically consider to be that. And so when you start to view those challenges and those opportunities, or when you start to view those challenges as opportunities, you'll enhance your problem-solving capabilities and create significantly more value for the company that you work for. That's in any situation. And that's what leads to the things like increased pay, to promotions, to bonuses, to, ultimately leading a successful business. So I want to encourage you all to find the takeaway in that story of you find the opportunity in the challenge. Now, being a close friend to you, I've seen also your ability to prioritize your family, along with having that significant leadership role for your company. So I truly look at you as an aspirational person when it comes to your ability to manage those high-level problems of the business and make your family the highest priority at the same time. And I mean, we've been on vacations when, an important work call comes in, you step out, you do what you need to do, and then without missing a beat, you're back into family time. You're back on vacation, enjoying the family. So can you share a little bit of, what is your mindset or approach to handling business when it arises while keeping your family the number one priority at the same time? Because that's a big thing a lot of people face.
Yeah. Like in work or family, you're going to have big problems, and some of them you've never seen before. But I don't want to show the crews that I don't know how to handle that problem, and I don't want to show my family I don't know how to handle that problem. So I'll internalize it. I'll keep it in. I'm going to be freaking out on the inside, but my team's not going to know I'm freaking out, and my family's not going to know I'm freaking out. I think that's very important. You got to keep your composure. So show strength. So as far as like when they, I'll get a crazy call on a vacation, big problem. I'll step back, think about it, relax, get that problem fixed as soon as possible. But just don't stress about it. Another big aspect of that is, you work with these guys every day, and it's able to help me because I know I got a great team.
Yeah.
If I didn't have a great team, it might be a little different. But I think training the guys through the years, so they know, they know how to answer these questions. They know how to solve those problems. They might want me just to validate it, but at the end of the day, I know that they're going to be all right. So I'm able to, separate things a little easier because of the training I know those guys had. I've been in wars with them, and I've seen how they, prevailed in the end.
Right.
So it's, for me, a champion, it's not that big. I know my guys got it, but I think the big thing is the main thing.
Oh yeah. Not the first time I've heard that. From a military standpoint, talking about leaderships needing to keep their composure in very challenging or difficult situations. Anybody ever been in have you ever been in the experience where you have a leader who is not composed at the moment, or is kind of freaking out, or you can just tell, they can't handle the situation?
Yeah.
How does that make you feel?
Oh man, I relate to that. It was like basketball in high school. I just remember my coach would freak out sometimes.
Yeah.
It would be like, "Coach, we got this,"
Yeah.
We can handle the situation, and I didn't like it when he freaked out. I think the whole team didn't like it so much, and we didn't relate to that. And we went on to have a pretty bad year, So, yes, I've been there.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have.
Yeah, absolutely. And it really does. a leader can impact their team based on the way that they respond. So to be able to keep your composure, even though it can be stressful, or it can like cause some internal, physiological things where you're like, oh, what am I going to do? But if you can keep your composure and respond, it will have a huge impact on your team's ability to regulate their emotions and respond. And it shows trust in your team to say, like, I know my guys got this. I know that they can handle it without me being there every second. When you get to that place in a company, like that's the goal. That's where everybody wants to be with it. Yeah. Now you brought in basketball, so we got to talk about basketball. I feel like a little bit,
sure,
but more so, just how do you feel that playing basketball, like a team sport? How do you feel the things you learned from playing basketball growing up translated to the skills, characteristics, the strengths that you bring to working with the team now in a professional setting?
I think resilience, definitely hard work. You always hear in basketball communication. Yeah, I've been preaching communication a lot. You want to communicate with everybody on the basketball court. Defense, hands up. All that rebound, get back, and every day I'm like talking to our foremen, like more information you can give our customers. For one, they're their friend, and then they're going to trust you more. They're going to know what's going on in the project, on the job site, and I think that all kind of works hand in hand, especially between the team.
Oh yeah, I mean everything keeps coming back to trust. Like everything that we're talking about, that teamwork, that ability to communicate, to take all of that, everything just ties back to trust. Like that's what I'm picking up from everything that we talked about today. And so let's get into. I know a lot of people who listen also interested in real estate.
Sure.
Either already invest or would like to invest in real estate. And so I have to bring up our recent experience, to hopefully help people avoid some of the mistakes that we made, or some of the issues that we've run into. So just for situational awareness, Shawn and I recently became business partners with a couple of our other friends. And we did our first real estate investment together to flip a property. And I'd say just about everything that could go wrong did go wrong.
Yeah.
Pretty much anything you can think of. I mean, so we ended up with over $26,000 in unexpected expenses, which ate the majority of the projected profit we had. And then we took way longer to complete renovations, to list the property, to finally close with a buyer than we anticipated. So those holding costs that added up to, utilities and extra interest expenses that we didn't plan for. So just a ton of things that, we were not planning for as we looked at the numbers up front. Everything looked good on the front end. So what did you learn through the process ultimately, and what would you recommend doing differently to those who have interest in real
estate? One thing I learned, I think what's hurt us a lot is location. Location, they say. It's not in the best area. So when you have all these problems, and you try to fix them, along the way, but you get everything can fixed. But at the end of the day, if you're in a bad location, that's not going to help the situation. It's not a desirable area where we're at. So I think that's hurt us a lot. We just try to sell the house because the house looks great, but it's just it's on a bad street, in a bad neighborhood. And, that's definitely one thing I've learned is, trying to find a house where people want to live. And then two, I guess diversifying your investments has been very important for me because, you don't want all your eggs in that basket because you're not going to have, not everything's going to go okay, So I've been able to think, at least I got this going on good over here, and it's made me feel a little bit better about the situation. So I think that's huge. Just diversify your investments. And then if you want to get into real estate, make sure you want people to get a house with people live.
Yeah. No, I couldn't agree more. Actually, I mean, it's not that I didn't know that going into it, because I've read books and they talk about don't get an investment property that you wouldn't live in yourself. Like if you wouldn't live there, why would somebody else want
Makes sense.
You know, and I think maybe we had that in our minds a little bit up front, but we were also dealing with some limited budget, like some budget constraints too, and which kind of led us to, I think, kind of settling for it. I think is what I would go with when it comes to that piece. But no, I completely agree. It is great to say in terms of don't just throw all the eggs in one basket. By working as a team, we've been able to, spread the loss. You know what I mean? And so that minimizes the impact. So we did things to reduce risk as much as we could on our side. So I think when it comes to it, for me, I don't look at it so much as a loss. I look at it as like, okay, we learned from this, and while there's some financial loss, we know we can do better on the next. And so it was a great learning experience for me. All right, so let's get right to giving people the key to success. Like we've already talked about some good skills, some good characteristics to have. If you're talking to somebody, let's say you're talking to the younger version of you, what's the one key to success that you would want to give yourself to help you get where you want?
Yeah, I think we went over it a little bit, but I think being resilient. Growing up, I was told I couldn't do a lot of things, from the basketball court to school to don't go to college, just get you a factory job. I think being resilient and knowing that if you want to strive to do things in your life, you're going to have to put yourself in places you're uncomfortable.
Yes.
You're going to have to be resilient, when obstacles hit, you're going to have to face them, just drive right through them, power through them, be you, stick to your ethics, and be resilient.
There's so many great things in that. I mean, resilience covers so much. So we're talking ability to respond to and overcome adversity and like the challenges that life throws at you, the ability to block out the noise. Because you're going to have naysayers in your life. You're going to have people that are not rooting for you. You're going to have people that either they fail, and so they project their beliefs onto you, or they didn't go after what they wanted to go after in life or didn't believe it was possible, so they project that onto you. And so it's very difficult, especially when you're younger, to recognize that and to be able to overcome it and to realize that they're not on the same path as me, the same journey as me. Just because something didn't work for them doesn't mean that it's not going to work for me. There's so many great and powerful stories of Michael Jordan not making the varsity basketball team in high school. He went on to be the greatest, or arguably, you can argue that however you want. We're not here to have that debate, but a phenomenal, unforgettable basketball player that changed the game. We can very easily say that. For myself, like I loved playing basketball growing up, and I didn't make the team in high school. Like I tried out all 4 years of high school, did not make the team, but I just loved playing basketball. And I had a dream. I was like, I want to play in college one day. So I just played in AAU leagues and just picked up any rec league that I could and just continued to play. And then I ended up walking on to my college basketball team, ended up getting a scholarship, and ended up making varsity my senior.
That's an amazing story.
Like, when you say resilience, like it is the ability to, if you want something, if you know what your purpose is, like if there's something that you are passionate about or care about, don't allow the obstacles that get in the way. Don't allow the negative things that other people say to stop you, and don't allow the negative things to impact your beliefs, because it doesn't have to be that. So I 100% agree with you when it comes to resilience. So I want people to be able to find you, to connect with you. What's the best way for people to either connect, reach out, or get in contact with Champion if they need anything, or is there anything that you want to
promote? Facebook, Follow us on Facebook. Try to do our journey on there, our jobs. You can follow us there, and then www.championwp.com is our website. So if you got questions about foundation needs or water intrusion needs, you can find us at those two places.
Gotcha. So I will drop links to the website and to the Facebook page in the comments. That way you all can easily access Champion if you all have any questions at all. And Shawn, thanks again. Because to take the time to share your experience, to share your knowledge, it means a lot. And I know firsthand that it has an impact when people reach out. So
I appreciate you having me. I love it. You're doing great things, and your inspiration. And thank you for having me on the show.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. And thank you all for tuning in, allowing us to be a part of your journey. If you enjoyed the episode, please go like it, subscribe, leave a 5-star review. All of those things help it to grow. And share it with other people, because if you enjoyed the episode, it can have an impact in someone else's life too. We want to connect with you, so join the conversation by sharing your comments, your thoughts, your questions, and let's grow.